Talking Pictures, Part 3. So here's a piece of artwork, hand painted, and what can we tell here? What story does this tell? Just when I'm looking at it just now, because I'm just doing all these things in a spontaneous way, I'm just flipping up pictures. They come out as a surprise to me, and then I start to speak about them, so we get the real unscripted spontaneity there, where I flip and then a picture pops up and I just start speaking about it, and this gives it a conversational type of style, and that way I can keep you company. So I'll flip this up, and I've noticed, which often happens when you come back to something a while later, you see it differently with fresh eyes. This bit here I would redraw or edit out, because that's a distraction. It's serving no purpose, this triangle. The folder sitting there, I would just take that edge out. Got a mouse here, cup of coffee. He's got something in his hand, or he's just comfortable here. And laptop, some files. Another coffee mug there, it might be his. And we can see socks, but he's not being rude, because this is a very casual environment, and this couple know themselves, know each other very well, and this is a relaxed situation, although it's implying they're working as a team. They may be running a business, an internet business or an accountant's business. And are they brother and sister? Don't think so. More like a couple. You see his watch there, and maybe they've been putting in a bit of work and now they're casually talking or gossiping rather than talking about business. He maybe be telling her a story. She's thinking, really? Is that true? And I've put down tools for a little while. So that's the story behind that one. We want nice contrasting colours here, this type of bright yellowish or orange, and deeper dark blue and lighter blue here. Not happy with this file at all. I would keep this bit in here and paint out that and this, and this will give our head nicely separated from the background. At the moment she's kind of merging into it, not really what I want. He's completely separate from the background. Okay, here's an interesting one. This time I don't think this is a couple. I don't think they're in an intimate relationship. To me, they're probably sisters. Why don't I know this already? Because I usually just create things from my subconscious, and I'm not aware of who they are or what they are until they appear. So then I start to think, so that's what it's all about. So I don't always know what it is until it emerges before me. And what we have is a couple of Eastern European women who are talented and have personality and ambitious, and are quite good at posing, and they have a dramatic type of part to their personality. They've obviously studied dramatics. They know how to pose, and they both have quite different personalities. She's more delicate and floral here. This woman's more businesslike, showing perhaps different traits. And here we have the strong running diagonal angle here, and then this angle going back down here, and then this dramatic wrist angle here, and then the belt. So these things create much more interest. If everything's very straight in pictures, then it doesn't look anywhere near as interesting. And this lady is straight, and this woman is leaning and looking down. These contrasts are what make for interesting viewing. This is a vivid sketch, and I imagined a comfortable home. And then I began to draw the type of things that make a living room comfortable. And because it's a vivid sketch with very strong, thick lines, I've exaggerated all the colours. So we have the lighting candelabra sort of style, but with actual electric bulbs, and a beautiful big window with some natural blue light, and a warm light from the it's a lamps. Forgot what they were called for a minute. Tungsten. These are tungsten bulbs giving a nice warm glow, and we get a blue light, natural light here. This is mixed lighting. So as we come towards the window, natural blue, colour temperature 550 degrees Kelvin. We come down into this warmth, a colour temperature of 3,300 degrees Kelvin, which means when you're photographing things like this, you need to be able to either filter these to balance the lighting, white balance it's called, or simply incorporate them in for contrast. But usually mixed lighting in a picture just looks strange. Our brains in normal circumstances will do all this, can handle this, but when you're recording something, when you're viewing it with your eyesight, you won't notice it. But when you record something and by photography, you will find that film or digital cameras will record lighting quite different from what you actually see it. And this is where you need to balance a light called white balance. Here we have a mysterious setup, and what we've got here is a cellar with very hard, solid walls and stone steps running at this angle from here going right down here. So what we do is we match this angle for continuity like this. So we're running an angle here similar to this angle there, and then this is a vertical plumb line, and then we have this point here and then another angle there. Pile of rubble in the background, and the starkness of it means that the lady, in her delicacy and femininity, she stands out as being vulnerable and delicate, a human being against stone walls, and striking lighting so that she's very pale skinned and posh looking and porcelain type of look, with not a lot of tonal range, and dark eyes. So this goes for a striking image, and then her head can't tilt. That line there, the way the angle is the same as the dress. All these posturings is the difference between making something look very interesting and superior, or just like a bit of a rabble. So that's a heads up on that one. In this one, which is a picture of a bunker which I built at Altnahara in 1985, and underground, and this is the vents for air. Just a little table and basic Spartan situation here. Did put in a luxury of a little bit of a carpet here. Sparse bedding, no duvet, and this, and there's a little hatch here where the provisions are. Here's a story within the picture. Always face at night, dramatic sky. This is a male figure, and right in the centre of the picture, or near centre, which is unusual because normally symmetry isn't the most effective thing. Normally I would be placing someone on a third here or a third there, 1/3 of the way in, 1/3 of the way in, but placing them here for effect, because I've got other things here which are the searchlights looking for them, and all the mist, dramatic mist, and the lights are shining through. This is known as turbidity. Can't even say it. Turbidity. I'll try again. Turbidity. That's it. Turbidity. Unusual word. It means haze, dust, or whatever. And it's used a lot in movies to create atmosphere in many different ways, particularly when you get shafts of light. Guy's obviously on the run here, but he's running towards you, which is meaning you're part of the picture, because he's coming towards you. He's not running away. It wouldn't be anywhere near as effective if he's running into the distance, because he's becoming detached from you. So as he's coming towards you, you may have to deal with this guy or meet him. That brings you into the picture. He's got his prize there, which could probably be a big case of cash, and he's got the cash, stolen it, and he's on the run. This is one of my customers when I used to have an art gallery and a shop. And having an eidetic memory, I remember every customer and their emotions, personality style, and their emotional sort of style. The way and this woman was a bit of a ham merchant, and she would introduce pathos into general talk. Therefore, this is conveyed in the eyes, where she's saying, "Oh, right, this and that," and everything was a bit of a drama, and things were. She's a very nice woman, talented artist herself. Did a lot of picture framing for her, but she used to be a bit dramatic, and everything was as it was some. She would add a hint of pathos or drama to every nuance of every everyday speech. She was very stylish, tall, and she'd wear these scarves and look great. And she had a son who was autistic, but pretty good at being out. And he was growing up, maybe about 20 years old, and he was quite different, Asperger's. But she wanted to get him as independent as possible, and this young man used to wander around, and because people didn't know he was autistic, almost, Asperger's, but a bit autistic, I used to see this young man sort of in shops and talking to people, and everybody was getting confused and frustrated because they didn't know that he wasn't actually sort of having them on or joking. He was just seeing the world differently. But her idea, this lady was to make sure her son was always as independent as possible. Here we have a relaxing image where we get the lady walking along in the rain, but there's a glimmer of hope there because we're getting some light coming here after the shower. These out of focus couple creates depth, sharpness here in the focus, and then gradually becoming fuzzy, and this fuzzy couple way in the distance, in contrast to the sharpness here, means that we get a sense of depth. Pictures are two-dimensional, so we're always trying to use psychological viewing tricks, you may want to call it, to create a sense of depth. Because it's flat, we've only got 2 dimensions here. So you do this by having lead-in lines. This leads you along this line here, and this one leads you up. And that's called the vanishing point. If you carry these things on, these lines, you get to a point where you can't discern anymore, like a railway track. It converges. And this point here is called the vanishing point. So again, anything which is not running at an angle can often look very static, so you've got to get the idea of movement. The step, the gait, it's got to look good. The hair flying away to the left here creates a bit more interest, and then if this was straight up, the umbrella, it wouldn't look as good. That tilt here gives you a crossover angle, and this always makes it more interesting. She's vertical, and this is at an angle, and this is important. And 1/3 in, and then from there to there is 2/3. So 2/3, and then 1/3. So placing someone on a third like this is important, and this position here of this couple is important as well, so that all gives you satisfaction. So when you're looking around into the distance, you maybe rest here for a while, and then you'll come back down here and maybe start looking at our bag and handbag and stuff like this. So that's how a picture tells a story.